Our next sample is the invisible zipper. And you've done a flap zipper and a railroad zipper, and they were both stitched on the outside so you actually see where the zipper is. This application is meant to be, as it says, invisible. So you can see on this skirt that it's very hard to tell that there's a zipper in there. It looks like a seam. So when you open it up, you can see the zipper. If you look carefully, you see how, let me zoom in here. So you can see the zipper is sewn really right next to the teeth. And also in a garment like this, the tape is actually treated, finished also and stitched down to the seam allowance where the zipper goes into. So we'll be doing this now. It's a little confusing just in terms of it goes in a different way, but it's a beautiful zipper to have if you really don't want a seam showing. So let's take a look on how to put this in so it truly is invisible. You're going to start off by preparing your fabric. Your two panels for your right and left skirt or pant should be 5 inches wide by whatever your zipper length is. I'm hoping most of you are working with a 7-inch, which is actually ends up needing 9 inches, which means that your length of fabric will be 12 inches. So most of you, if you're working on a 7 to 9 invisible zipper, your swatches will be, your body fabric will be 5 inches by 12 inches. If your zipper's a little longer, just add 3 inches to whatever the final length of your zipper is. The next thing that you're going to do is we're working with 1/2 inch seam allowances. So you're going to cut 2 pieces of interfacing. You may use fusible for these exercises. It'll just make it a little faster and actually, honestly, a little more stable. So you're going to cut your interfacing as long as the zipper. So I cut these 7 inches by 1 inch wide. And then I'm going to fuse them right to the edge. This is a little different than your lapped zipper because it needs to be stable in a different spot. So, because it gets sewn in a different spot. So this is 1 inch wide, which is going to cover my seam allowance plus another 1/2 inch into the body. That's going to give me a nice, really sturdy pull for the zipper, sturdy, stable body for the zipper to go up and down. The zipper goes up and down a lot, and so it needs that extra stability. So this is 1 inch wide by, in this case, 7 inches long. So 2 pieces of fabric. These are 12 by 5 each side, and then interfacing 1 inch by 7 inch, which is the length of the zipper. The next thing you want to do is to take your zipper and open it up all the way. Turn it so that the stopper is away from you and the top of the zipper is towards you. And then with an iron on a synthetic setting, you want to take and press the teeth open. It does not have to be pressed flat. You're just trying to take a little bit of the curl out of that zipper. It's going to make it easier to put in. So I can zoom in a little bit here so you can see. I'm going to take the zipper. I'm just going to roll the teeth out and press it open. Again, make sure you're on a low setting. You do not want to melt your zipper. Your zipper is just a really kind of an inexpensive nylon, so you want to make sure that your temperature of your iron is not too high. So you want to get it as close to the teeth as you can. Okay, so take it and press it open, pressing the teeth away from in the opposite direction of the curl that it's in. Now this zipper, unlike the other two zippers you did, you are not going to sew the seam. You're going to put the zipper in first and sew the seam last. So it's very different. This zipper also is going to get sewn from the right side. So I'm going to take, this is why I used nice dark interface in here so you could see. So I'm going to take my two samples and I'm going to flip them open. Again, making sure that I have the sides that are with the interfacing are abutting each other. I drew lines on this, which you can do too. I just thought it might be easier to show you. The next thing I'm going to do is from the top of the zipper about a little more than a quarter of an inch down. And that's where I'm going to start the zipper. I'm going to take my zipper open. I'm going to take the left side of the zipper and put it on to the right side, of this panel, okay? So I'm only going to be working with this panel for now. The left side of the zipper, about a little more than a quarter of an inch down. I'm going to line up my teeth with my stitching line, which I've marked here. So you can go ahead and mark it if you wanted to make sure you're nice and straight. Okay? And then I'm going to head over to the machine. So at the machine, this is the invisible zipper foot. You can see it's almost got like a little M shape here. So what you end up doing is putting the teeth into these slots, and then it opens it up so the needle can go through. So you're going to start with your needle in the center going through the center hole of here. And I'm going to start at the top. I've put my zipper teeth into the slot so it's holding it open, and I'm going to back tack. And now I'm going to sew, and I've lined my teeth up on my stitching line. I'm going to take it all the way down to the bottom. When I get to the bottom, near the stopper rather, I'm going to back tack. So you're not going all the way to the bottom of the zipper. Okay? I can lift it up and let's take a look at it. So I've stitched my left hand side of my zipper to my right hand right side of the garment. So now you can see when it turns under that it's nice and finished. Okay, so you have the right hand side now stitched, the left hand side of the zipper stitched to the right hand right side of the garment. So now you want to take the left side, what is the left right side of the garment, and you want to transfer the marking. So you had a marking here. I made a marking here for where my zipper would start. So I'm going to overlap that over onto here, line them up exactly, stick a pin through to mark it, and then take my pencil and put a mark in. So it's exactly in the same spot. So you can see I start at the top of the zipper right by that dot. I'm going to do the same thing now on the other side. I'm sorry, the right hand side of my zipper, and line it up to the left hand right side of my garment and pin it. So now I have the right side of the free zipper tape, and I'm going to pin it to the right side of the remaining garment section. So I'm going to put it in here, making sure that the teeth catch sometimes. And this is, remember we were talking about presser foot. This is sometimes when more pressure on the pressure foot works. The other thing too is make sure that your needle is right in the center of that dot. And then I'm going to stitch down. I don't have my teeth out here. I'm caught there. I'm going to back tack on both directions. Making sure, again, if you want to draw a line, you can. And this is where the pressing of the teeth open really helps. So you can see that's riding in the teeth are riding really nicely in that groove that's in the foot. Okay, come down again as close as I can to the hole without making a mess. And again, the zipper is longer than you need it to be for this reason. Okay, and you're good. Now we want to go to close up the seam. So what you want to do is to pull your zipper tape out of the way. Come down where the stitching was and place a pin in the vertical position so that you kind of you're holding your seam allowance together. Then it really helps if you put a pin in perpendicular to that last pin, so it kind of helps to hold it flat and then also to keep the zipper tape out of the way. You also want to, on your machine, you want to now move over to the zipper foot side. So this will act, when you're sewing in the center, this will act to sew both sides of the teeth, but now this foot will actually act like a zipper foot too. This works actually a little better on the metal ones than it does on these plastic ones, but it does work. So now I want to put, I usually skip a stitch. I don't go right in the hole. You can, but I like to give it a little breathing room. And then I'm going to stitch forward. I'm going to give it a little back tack, and then go ahead down and finish my seam. This is the invisible zipper sample. All finished, all pressed. You can see here it's operating. You should check to make sure that you should check the teeth as you go along, because that's something that can go really wrong. So you want to make sure that you're not too close and you're not too far. You've got to find that perfect center in that hole of your foot to make sure that you're catching everything. Okay, and that's your invisible zipper. And then of course you would go ahead and finish your seam however you want. And at this point, to finish up my sample, I'll just run a serging stitch around it so it's nice and neat, and put it into my sample book. And that is your invisible zipper. Don't let it frustrate you. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries, but it's a beautiful, beautiful zipper because it makes everything look nice and clean. Okay, that's the invisible zipper.